In this video, we're continuing our conversation about text message review. Now, vdiscovery has built two workflows surrounding SMC, which is a short message communication, as well as RSMF, which is a Relativity Short Message Format. And both of these workflows require something called conversation grouping or conversation denomination. This is where we take conversation that could span over months or even years, and we break it into manageable sized chunks so you could review it more efficiently, and you can share those documents or share that set between multiple people, and each person can review different section of that communication. Now, in order to do that, we create a conversation field that splits that big conversation into smaller chunks. And one of the questions people come up, what makes sense? What are the different conversations that you guys create? So maybe I can make a decision what would work best for me. And the first type of grouping is what we call a whole conversation. This is where we take all the names in an entire chat message collection, whether it's from one phone or multiple, and we put it all together into one big database, and we'll look at who are the people who are talking to each other. And based on groups of people, we're able to narrow them down. For example, these three people having a conversation between themselves, and then other two people having conversation between themselves, and there may be 5 more people having conversations between themselves somewhere else. And we're able to separate them all into their individual chat communications. However, those chat communications may prove to be too long for efficient review. There may be people who are friends for 5 or so years, and you have 5 years worth of text messages. That's why we offer to narrow down that whole conversation into smaller chunks. So the next option that's available is 200 messages per file. Again, it would be per file if it's an RSMF file, or it would just be a conversation field or grouping field that's updated in Relativity, which takes a whole conversation and just splits it down by 200 messages. Now, next option is something that we prefer, is 24-hour communication, or 1 day's worth, where you take days worth of messages and you put it in a separate conversation. Now, if you're following our SMC workflow, it is actually very easy to switch from one conversation grouping to the next. All we have to do, update a field, and then your results will show up appropriately. If you are using RSMF workflow, you have to make that determination ahead of time, where we'll split our chat messages into RSMF files. If at some point you decide that you want to change that, we will have to go back to original text messages and regroup them together based on your requirements. That means you could potentially be losing work product or any coding that you have done on existing documents. I hope this video answers any questions you had about conversation groupings, and if it does not, feel free to reach out to vdiscovery's project manager, who will be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you for watching this video.